Here we have the 5-speed manual Fiesta. Fiesta has now been with us for what must be over 30 years. We're going to do a 0 to 60 test now. The road conditions are wet. This is a front wheel drive, so it won't be fantastically accurate. 3, 2, 1. There you can see a perfect example why front wheel drive just doesn't cut the mark when it comes to driving in the wet. Okay, they may be good in the snow, but that's it as far as I'm concerned. Going around the roundabout now, 30 miles an hour. Not bad, it's holding the road. I'm not getting any bit of slide there on the front, bit of understeer now. I mean, that's not aggressive driving, that's how you're going to be driving normally. Not experiencing any torque steer at all, which is always refreshing on front wheel drive. Now the initial reaction when you sit in this car is, okay, it's quite stylish, the center console, everything's laid out, looks pretty simple to operate. But there's certain elements of the design inside that are very cheap and tacky looking. It does look almost like the quality a radio controlled car would be made of. That's the sort of feel it has, which is always a bit disappointing. And another thing which really does stand out as a negative is the wing mirrors are very, very low. They're placed very, very low, and I don't see any reason why they need to be so low. The reason why that's an issue is, in order to look in the side mirrors, I've got to physically move my head. I can't glance through by just by casting my eyes over, you know, like a fleeting glimpse. It'd be too much of a strain on your eyes to look into that. It's physically impossible. You can't see any peripheral vision, so you have to physically move. Now that can't be a good thing as far as I'm concerned. The steering is very tight, and it's also very light as well. The steering wheels immediately follow the steering. There's no lag there at all. The 5-gear gearbox is very smooth and it feels quite tight. It's not spot on, it's not perfect, but it does feel good and it does feel sure when you change gears. Very, very determined, feels quite confident in the gear change. But if there was any criticism, I would say the actual gear lever itself feels far too long, and it'd be more an enthusiastic, sporty feel if it was a short shift lever. A lot of road noise underneath the car, but generally speaking it's a very smooth transition through the gears and through the actual driving itself. Now I'm just going to try the roundabout again. The car does feel a little bit top heavy, to be fair, and the nose does stick in as it goes around the corners, so it's very nose heavy on the corners, so you're not going to have any problems with the back end coming out. But as we come around this corner now, I just want to accelerate to see if there is any torque steer, and there's none at all. Sometimes when I accelerate out of a corner, not only get the torque steer, the steering wheel actually reflexes back very aggressively, which can be very dangerous. I'm just going to do a brake test now, because this Fiesta seems to be a lot better than they usually are. I'm not going to be doing emergency stop, I'm just going to be braking firmly. I'm doing 50 miles an hour. 3, 2, 1. I would say the brakes are okay, but they're by no means superb. It didn't feel like I had the ability to apply a gradual pressure. It was very much on or off. They weren't grabbing brakes, but sometimes brakes feel like you're just putting your foot up against a brick wall and pressing, rather like the sensation you get with drum brakes. So okay, the brakes did work, but I wouldn't say they came across as smooth or as if I could apply more control to them in smaller quantities. So the brakes weren't fantastic, and I wouldn't really fancy trying to control this car in an emergency brake of 60-70 miles an hour, because I just don't think you'd have the the agility and the control that you require with a car like that. But all in all, I'm quite pleasantly surprised with this Fiesta, and it's turned out to be a lot better than they usually are.